Hello, welcome to another Brit in Poland episode. So I know a couple of weeks ago I was talking about the Polish involvement in the situation in Ukraine, but that was just the beginning, and I felt that you guys might appreciate some stories from what's happening locally. Rather than just what you're seeing in the news. I mean, the news is normally quite thorough, but I think it's missing a lot out. Either that or I seem to be missing articles because I keep hearing things that scare the living shit out of me right now. We all know what's happening, right? Russia is invading Ukraine. Anyone who denies that, get the hell off my channel. Don't leave a comment. I don't want to hear from you. If you're denying this or you're supporting this, then you're supporting your own annihilation as far as I'm concerned. This is not fake news. This is not like a load of bullshit. This is something that's really happening. And I know there's a lot of disinformation out there. I know there's crap being said like, oh, look how they're treating like foreigners crossing over the border. From what I've heard, that's a bunch of Chechens that have been sent in to cause disruption. And if there is any truth to that, I would be shocked and appalled, but I do not believe that that's happening. From what I hear about the border, everyone is being helped. Yes, there is a priority to get women and children out of Ukraine. People who are, like infirm or anything like that, they're being given priority. That I completely agree with. So maybe there are some people stuck in the queues, and I don't even know how long the queues are. At one point I heard like 3 days to get out, but as time goes by and you see more and more about the absolutely horrendous things that are happening, you can very well understand why people are fleeing that country. The men are being asked to stay and fight, and my God, are they fighting. But before I talk about the positives, before I talk about the heroism, I want to share some things with you. So, firstly, all of these people negotiating with Russia, they're just playing into Russian hands, because you cannot believe a word that is being said by these Russian authorities who are doing negotiations. Yeah, ceasefires, load of crap. It's just a repositioning of their forces. Oh, we're going to open up humanitarian corridors. Yeah, they did that, and then they shot women and children. They're bombing hospitals full of 6-year-olds with cancer. They're raping and murdering young women. They're attacking nuclear power plants, potentially the other day almost causing an incident which would have been 10 times larger than Chernobyl. Russia is defying the Geneva Convention. They are committing war crime after war crime. And the scary thing, when they report the news, they turn it all on its head. Oh no, the Ukrainians are doing this. Oh, it's a civil war. Russia's not involved. Anyone who believes that, I'm sorry, but you need to take a good look at your life. The Ukrainians are fighting for their lives. And they are inspirational. Absolutely inspirational, the stories you hear. How they've been able to hold on to key cities while other cities have been destroyed in a total of 95%. And this continues. The Russians keep sending in more troops, more forces. They were briefly backed by Belarus and then they pulled out or something like that. And yes, there are stories of soldiers who were sent in there and they're crying because they didn't know that they were supposed to be killing Ukrainians. Well, it's not just killing Ukrainians anymore. It's what I would call a genocide. This is ethnic cleansing, the activities. There was a lady who was delivering food to a dog shelter, and she was killed on her return journey, and people say that she was deliberately targeted. And yes, as I said before, not every Russian is complicit. This is not, there are plenty of Russians in the world that, believe this and they're standing up against it or they're not supporting it. But those who are standing up in Russia are being arrested. They're proposing martial law so that protesters can't go into the streets, so nobody can speak out. Children, old women. The scale of the government trying to cover this up in every way. They, like they had smartphones banned in Russia, like Apple and Sony or whatever. They stopped delivering mobile phones to Russia, and so apparently the Russians, like they had their propaganda campaign. It's like, here, have the new Russian smartphone. You can call your friends and it'll do everything, and it's like, I think probably a load of crap, let's be honest. It's absolutely horrific. And yeah, sorry. I had to have that little rant, like I literally just got off the phone with a Ukrainian colleague of mine, and she has been telling me all of the steps that she's personally taking to try and get family and friends out of the country, find them accommodation, get the supplies, all of this stuff that's going on. And I have other Ukrainian friends that I've talked to, and people in despair. They're in despair because the situation is increasingly hopeless. But Poland, I have to say, Poland is doing wonderful things. And we can all do wonderful things here, but Poland, wow. So far, about over 1 million Ukrainians have crossed over the border into Poland. Not all of them have stayed. Some of them have just, elected to stay, for a few nights to get some things sorted, and they've gone on to Berlin, gone on to Spain, Portugal. People are making their way across. So, but a lot of people are staying here. I mean, especially I imagine the ones who don't speak English, like Polish is going to be a lot better an environment for them to be in. There are a lot of Ukrainians here already, so there are support networks. But Poles, they've been offering up their homes by the thousands. Local authorities have been finding housing. Here in Warsaw, they're in the process of reclaiming this block of apartments that was owned by some Russians and used for diplomatic purposes or security purposes, and God, who gives a shit really. And they're repurposing those to house refugees. People have been donating money, people have been donating supplies, medical supplies, bulletproof vests, food, blankets, everything, because these people are coming over with nothing. There's one picture that's going around social media at the moment, which is quite touching, where a lot of Polish mothers have left prams at like one of the train stations for the Ukrainian mothers coming over, doing nothing but carrying their children. The amount of support that is coming from Poland is incredible. I'm not saying the rest of the world isn't doing anything. I know, governments are doing some things, like Germany are sending, anti-air missiles that don't work. The UK is imposing sanctions which will take up to 18 months to take effect. And okay, and maybe I'm being cynical, but the world could be doing that, and the government should be leading the way on this. They should be doing a lot more. There's talk of getting fighter jets in, but is that going to happen? Sure, we can bolster our support in Poland or with the armed forces. We can bolster, Estonia, countries like that, and the whole Baltic line, get them reinforced. Okay, we can get groups like Finland into NATO and reinforce them. There are these things, but it's not enough. The West is still afraid. They still think that diplomacy is going to make a difference here. That the Russians are somehow going to be starved out enough that they'll turn on their own leader. And maybe that's starting to happen, but it's going to take a long time, and you're going to have a lot of blood on your hands before that happens. For me, when I hear the stories of many nations, I'm sure, but the stories I hear of the British veterans who are traveling over to fight, to directly fight in the conflict, that inspires me so much. I'm amazed that people would do that. I wish I had the balls to do that, to be honest, because this is not going to end at Ukraine. You know, this is just going to get worse. But yeah, sorry. One of the main points that I wanted to raise this video for was not just to vent, not just to try and spell out the horrific nature of what's going on. I'm hoping you know this already if you're watching this video. But I know a lot of you are helping already, and there are a lot of ways to help in Ukraine. So what I'm going to do with this video is I've, tried to find like the best official sources of information I can. So official links, you have like the British Red Cross, you have links to to directly support the Ukrainian army. There's this German charity that is buying supplies and then, sort of taking those to the border. There are links if you want to host a Ukrainian family, to let people know. There are all kinds of ways that people can help. There's this one website which has links to everything, including where the protests are in your area, online petitions you can sign. There's even something there for helping Ukrainian companies defend themselves from cyber attacks by helping them to identify weak points. And it's sad that this part of the message, the part that I really wanted to communicate, is coming after such a long rant. So I apologize if I've gone on too long and not spent enough time on the positive side, but I don't know, I'm not the kind of guy that really gets emotional. I try not to be, but this whole situation, to me, it's the sort of shit that was happening, during World War II. This is what the fucking Nazis did. It's absolutely sick what's happening to these people, and that we still have people in this world who are capable of these horrific, disgusting acts. Sorry. So I hope you learned something watching this video, and please check the video description for if you are if you're in a position to help and you're looking for credible ways to help, I encourage you to check the links. I would much rather be focusing on the core content on this channel, which is talking about Poland, but it's hard to do that right now with the stories that I'm hearing. But a big thank you to everyone out there who has done something to help already, or who is planning to do something to help, because in this situation you're helping to rebuild people's lives completely. Thank you, and thank you for watching. Do zobaczenia.